In this video, I'm breaking down the exact content ecosystem that took my client Marzia from 0 to 25k a month in under 90 days. Marzia was doing UGC full-time when we started out. She had already worked with over 350 brands and had been casually coaching a few people one-on-one on how to get into UGC. She had already made multiple six figures from UGC herself, and she knew there was a bigger opportunity out there. She wanted to build a program, help more people, and scale it into a real business. But she didn't have the structure, she didn't have the backend systems, offer, or the clarity or the path to scale. And that's where we came in. Now, obviously, to grow a successful info product, there's lots of moving pieces here. You have the offer, product delivery, backend, support, systems, sales. It all matters. In this video, I'm gonna zoom in on one piece that most people mess up, and that's your content ecosystem. I'll walk you through the exact framework we use to turn cold, unaware profile visitors into ready-to-buy customers using content, and more importantly, how you can do the same to grow your own coaching or info business without spending a fortune on VSL funnels or high-ticket ads, anything like that. One of the biggest mistakes I see coaches and creators make is trying to do everything in one piece of content. They're trying to grab attention, build trust, and close the sale all at once. And it sounds efficient, but it's actually killing your sales. Because when you try to do everything at once, you end up saying a lot without actually saying anything that sticks. People either feel confused or they feel like they're being sold to way too quickly. So instead, your content should have one job at a time. You need 3 different types of content. You need traffic to bring in new people, you need nurture content to build trust and educate, and then you need sales content to convert the warm leads. And once you separate those, you can build a content ecosystem that works like a flywheel. So this means that the traffic brings in the right audience, the nurture content builds connection over time, and the conversion content activates them to buy when they're actually ready to buy. So it not only works better, it also gives you way more clarity around your messaging, your audience's journey, and your own growth. So the question is, why is having a content ecosystem much better than a traditional sales funnel? Let me break it down here. Here's the thing about a traditional sales funnel. It's like trying to rush a first date into a marriage. You run an ad, someone watches a VSL or webinar, and then boom, you try to close the sale. But most of the time that lead is cold. They don't really know you, they haven't seen your stuff before, and now you're asking them to drop thousands on your offer. No wonder it doesn't convert. There's barely any nurturing, and if they're not ready to buy right then and there, they're gone. You lose the lead completely. Now compare that to a content ecosystem. Instead of trying to force people down one rigid path, you're showing up in different ways. Through Instagram stories, YouTube videos, posts. You're giving value, you're building trust, and you're letting people get to know you before you actually start pitching anything. So this way you've got way more touch points and you're warming them up over time so that when you do make an offer, they're like, yeah, I actually trust this person, let's go. And if they're not ready yet, then no problem, they're still in your world, they're still seeing all of your stuff. They're still moving closer to buying. It's just a way more natural long-term way to sell. With that being said, let's take a look at the overview of the content ecosystem that we're using, and then I'll break it down step by step here. So as I mentioned before, every piece of content should have one job, either drive traffic, nurture trust, or convert leads. And that's why we design specific reels to attract new eyeballs. As you can see here, we have organic reels. And we also run follower ads to get qualified people onto the profile, as you can see here. Once they land on the profile, they are funneled into our 14-day nurture cycle, as we call it. And this is basically a system that gives them consistent belief-shifting touch point across different platforms. That sounded a little bit complicated, but I'll break it down even more and how it works in a second. Because after someone's been nurtured for 14 days, then we move into the conversion. And by that point, they have seen enough value, they have seen enough proof and authority to actually be ready, so we can start activating the conversion mechanisms and actually convert them. So it looks something like this. They'll be exposed to different story call to actions or keyword call to actions in our reels and our stories. And depending on how they respond, we guide them down one of 2 conversion paths here. So the first one is they get into a conversation with our appointment setter here, and the setter figures out where they're at in the journey. Do they still need more clarity on the vehicle? Are they asking about the offer? Are they ready to book a call already? And based on that, our setter will either nurture them further and qualify them, or get them booked in for a call. Now, the other path they can go is they can go through YouTube, typically through a keyword CTA like DM video to get the breakdown or something similar. And that triggers two things at once. One is it triggers a conversation with the setter, and it triggers a long form YouTube video that continues to educate and nurture them. So that means that now they're getting value in two places at once. They're getting value at the DMs and on YouTube, and whichever one converts them first, that's going to be the win. So some will book straight after watching a YouTube video, others will re-engage with the setter and then book through the chat there. So that means either way, we're letting the content ecosystem do the heavy lifting here, and we're adapting to where the leads actually at the customer journey. Yeah, and from there on, they'll of course book a call. It'll end up being a close. We'll then do a smooth onboarding. We'll make sure to give the students actual results, and then potentially we can upsell them to a more high ticket offer. All right, so now you understand the concept behind the content ecosystem here. Now I'm gonna actually walk you through what it looks like in practice, because this is very, this is only the overview. So here's the visual breakdown of how every step works. So as I said, we start at the top with follower ads, and these aren't like sales ads. The goal here is to get the right people onto your profile. So we're targeting our ideal audience, people who are already problem aware or vehicle curious. That means in our case, they're curious about UGC. And we're using these ads to, one, bring them into our world, and two, educate them lightly on what it is that we do. And the rest of the ecosystem will then take over from here. That means when someone lands on the profile, they're not being pitched right away, but they're being pulled into a structured experience that builds belief and trust over time. And once they land on the profile, they enter what we call the 14-day nurture cycle, as I mentioned before. And this part is super, super important. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So the thing here is you can't expect someone to just land on your page, binge one reel, and then be ready to drop thousands on a program. Like that's not how people buy. So what we've built is this 14-day structure that's designed to, one, educate, build trust, create belief in the offer and the vehicle itself. And the cool thing about this nurture cycle is that it runs in the background 24/7. So once it's set up, it keeps looping and working on everyone who enters the funnel. So let me break down why this actually works. Because to move someone from cold to converted, you need to do 5 things. You need to educate them on the vehicle. You need to break down the false beliefs that are holding them back. You need to show proof, results, and testimonials. And you need to demonstrate authority in your space. And then you need to create an authentic connection with your audience. This one is very, very important, because in the world we live in today, people doesn't buy your product or your coaching. They buy into you because they believe in you. If you're missing one of those, your conversion rate drops. This system makes sure that we hit all of them. So let's go a little deeper on how we do that. Here you can see we've structured the reels inside the 14-day cycle. So each day has a purpose. It's not just random content. We're stacking beliefs in the right order here. On day number 1, we'll, for example, do a reel where we break down the vehicle. We explain what UGC actually is. This is sort of the first step to make them understand what it is that we're doing and what we can offer them. On day 3, we break down their false beliefs, like someone might have a false belief that they need a lot of followers to do UGC, and then we have a reel breaking that down. On day number 5, we use analogies. So this is a very, very strong thing to do. So we take a known concept, like for example, influencers, which is, it's not the same thing as being a UGC creator, but it's leaning towards the same thing. So we take a known concept like an influencer and compare it to UGC. What's the differences and why is UGC better? Then on day number 7, we show proof. In this case, you can see we share how Tracy scaled to 10K a month with UGC besides her full-time job. And the important thing here is to add some sort of story to this. So now we have, you see over these 7 days, we have explained the vehicle, what UGC is. We have been breaking down their false beliefs. We've used analogies to create a stronger understanding of what UGC is. and we have shown actual results of other people that are relatable to our audience to make them believe that they can also do the same. Now on day number 9, we want to show some authority. We want to teach them something related to UGC to actually show that Marzia is the qualified person to teach them about it. And this could, for example, in our case, be the best way to pitch to brands. So we're creating a video giving actionable tips here. On day number 11, we incorporate some sort of mindset shift. And this is where people start to see that this is actually possible to them. But more importantly, this is also an opportunity for us to show Marzia's core values and her beliefs. And this is where we build the real connection. And then on day number 13, we'll have some sort of call to action. That can be a story call to action, but it's basically the day where we'll have a conversion mechanism in place, because now we've been nurturing them over 14 days. Now we're ready to hardcore sell them because we have moved them closer to the buying decision. So as you see, every reel is engineered to either educate, shift beliefs, or build authority. And after 14 days, we'll just run another cycle with the same different touch points. Of course, we'll have new reels, new pieces of content with new angles, but it'll run over in a cycle. So everyone who enters the content ecosystem will be exposed to all of these different touch points. The next thing is we use stories to really engage the audience here. And this is where we go behind the scenes and build a human connection. So we show lifestyle and day-to-day content, we show student results, behind the scenes, quick thoughts, and we do polls and Q&As. And then we of course do some soft call to actions as well. This is where people stop seeing you as just another expert and start actually trusting you like a guide or a mentor. Now let's talk a little bit about YouTube here, because YouTube is such a powerful piece of the whole ecosystem. The thing is, the more time your target audience spends with you, the easier it'll be to convert them. So what we have is we have 3 main types of videos here. We have beacons. These are the attention grabbing videos designed to attract new viewers in. And yeah, we usually use some broader topics here to capture in new audiences. Then we have the driver videos. These are the more specific problem solving videos that nurtures the audience. They go much deeper into what UGC actually is, how to do UGC, how to get started with it. And yeah, it helps people connect the dots between their problem and our solution. And then from there on, we funnel them to our VSL, which is the longer form videos that combine storytelling, proof, belief shifting, logic, and the job here is of course to convert the viewers. But it's a subtle VSL, it's not a direct sales pitch we just throw in their face. But the good thing here is we send warm leads from Instagram, and these videos right here on YouTube do the actual selling. So instead of relying on one VSL ad that people only see once, we're pulling people into content that nurtures them over time, builds more trust, and get them way more ready to buy. You're probably sitting right now thinking, well, how do I actually execute on all of this? How do I get started with creating this 14-day nurture cycle and creating all of the content? Maybe you're also, maybe you're empty of ideas and what to actually post. So let me give you a couple of focus points here. Because when it comes to scripting your content, and especially during the nurture phase, your angles, your concepts, and your analogies are everything here. Because different people will resonate with different explanations, and what clicks for one person might completely miss for another one. So that's why your creativity really matters here. The more unique angles and analogies you can test, the more data you'll be able to collect, and the faster you'll figure out what actually drives conversions. Especially if you're just starting out, you shouldn't be aiming for perfection. You should just be aiming for creating a lot of different angles here. Test more scripts, test different hooks, test different ways to explain the same thing. And then you'll find out that you'll have a lot of data, and you'll find out what's actually working, and you can double down on that. All right, so that was a lot, but I wanted to break it down very clearly and give you the full picture. No fluff, no gatekeeping. Obviously, this is only one part of what goes into scaling a successful info product. It isn't about luck, it's about having the right systems in place. That's really the key thing here. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, it all makes sense, but Victor, how do I actually apply this to my business? I fully get it. And your situation is probably way different. Maybe you're not sure what your offer should be. Maybe you're not sure on how to structure your content, how to get consistent leads. There can be a lot of things holding you back. And if that's you, then I encourage you to just send me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to help you out. And I can learn more about where you're at. If it makes sense, we can chat more about how we might be able to apply this system to you. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you got some clarity on this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.